last year and being kind of locked in from the jump and not kind of taking time to find their groove?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of learning lessons from that first game, especially in those first 5 minutes where we really let West Georgia come in and control the glass and we turn the ball over. And that's something that we're going to be challenged at a much higher rate in this game against FIU. They're long, athletic, and they do a great job of forcing turnovers. So we have to come out of the gate with urgency. We have to play the right way. They're really, really good in transition. If we do turn it over, they're going to capitalize on it. In early games, it's important to get off to a fast start. And, generally the team that gets off to the better start in those early games is the team that ends up on top.
FIU, like West Georgia, has some bigger guys in the front court. I guess, what do you use from that game and show on film to prepare? Yeah,
they're going to be big most of the game at the 4 or 5 and very athletic. And that's one thing that they put a lot of stress on your defense. They've got forceful rim rollers, and they are all over the glass, and they're going every time. And their 3-man is his ability to play in ISO type situations with his size at 6'6". He actually played with Oogie at Bakersfield, and he can really score the basketball. And again, another guy that's athletic. And then their guards, they're 1 of the 2 are jet quick, and they're really good in transition, and they can get hot from 3. And those bigs they're good in the pocket. They block shots very similar to 22 in the first game, but they got 4 of those guys, not only 1. And if we go in there and try to challenge them at the rim, it's going to lead to transition baskets on the other end. So again, a lot of learning lessons from that first game that will definitely carry over into this next one. But just out of the gate, we need to play a lot smarter. I thought we got rushed a little bit. This team will try to speed us up with different presses that they're going to run, and it's imperative that we handle that the right way.
Connor did some good things inside the arc. What have you seen from that part of his game?
Yeah, he did. And, the way I look at it, he and Price I think, was 1 for 12 from 3, and we still found a way to make double-digit threes, making 10 of them, with our arguably 2 best shooters, not having their best game from outside. But I do agree with you. I thought Connor did a good job of taking the ball to the basket, and he was good. He was selective at the rim. A couple guys went in there and, again, tried to challenge length, but I thought Connor did a good job, getting into the body of the big or finding an angle to where he could go in there and finish. And, I think you look at Connor was 1 for 7 from 3 and still ended up with 12 points. So, that's growth for Connor, finding other ways to get the ball in the basket other than the 3-point line. And teams are going to run him off. So, it's important that he gets in there. These guys really swarm after the ball. It's going to be important not to play in a crowd in this game, and we'll see. It's going to be early in this one. If we can make the right plays and play simple basketball, we're going to have a chance to get good high quality shots. And if not, it's going to be a turnover fest.
Connor seems to have a sense of humor when it comes to his mistakes, whether that's getting blocked or putting up shots that probably don't have a good chance of going in. Just how have you seen him embrace just that move on and kind of make fun of it and keep it light?
Well, I don't think it's funny. I mean, it's for him. Moving on is great. I hope we don't find humor in making mistakes, but moving past that mistake is very important. We talk to our guys about that all the time. And I look at last year, and Connor had a couple games. Michigan, I think he was 0 for whatever. In the last game, he was 0 for, and then he bounced back and had an unbelievable game the next time out. So I give Connor. I wish I would have had that mindset as a player. I'd miss a shot, and I'd go into the drain for a couple games until I could get out of it. His ability to put the last play behind him is something that I really admire about Connor, and I think honestly it's his faith. I think he sees the bigger picture out there. And when he goes out and has a tough game, he always is in the gym early the next day, and he puts it behind him. And it's a great quality. It really is. It's hard as a shooter to have that mentality, but Connor's found a way to figure it out.
You mentioned after the game on Monday, the stretch where Sam had those 5-6 straight rebounds. How quickly are you showing that to the team as ways to change a game when things aren't?
Yeah, I mean, our guards are going to have to rebound, and especially you look at this game, our bigs are going to be locked up in a battle. So our guards have to find a way to come in and make plays like Sam made. And then that also got us out in transition. And you see what the team was doing. They were crashing everybody, and that got us out, and that's really what got us into a rhythm is when, we got our transition threes. We were 1.4 points per possession and transition in that game. In the first 6 seconds of the shot clock, we were 1.6. So, that's great from an analytics standpoint. We didn't have as efficient offense when we were forced into a half court, either taking the ball out of the net or bringing the ball down the court slowly. We had some good looks, so I'm confident we're going to knock some of those down and be more efficient in our half court offense. But yeah, I thought Sam was huge in that stretch where we opened it up, and a lot of that had to do with his defensive rebounding.
How much have you seen Berke benefit from the skill set around him, the extra spacing that gets compared to last?
Yeah, that helps Berke a lot. And, I talked about this after the game the other day, and after I went back and watched the film, and it confirmed it, that he made a lot of winning plays in that game, even though he didn't shoot it great. He had a couple dunks, got behind it on a, small on big ball screen, and we got him a layup on an out of bounds play. But his defensive analytics are as good as anybody on our team. And you look last year with a bigger sample size, and it was the same thing on that end. So from an offensive standpoint, the fact that teams have to respect us more on the perimeter will help a guy like BK that can initiate. You see he's more comfortable bringing the ball down the floor right now in transition when he rebounds, or we've even outletted the ball to him a couple times. And then again, you're putting the defense in a tough situation because you're making multiple people guard the player that's facilitating offense. And, Berke is a guy that, would like to see him seal a little bit deeper on that first play that we ran for him. But again, that's all part of the process and learning. But yes, the increased gravity, the spacing that we have on the floor is going to really help a guy like Berke.
Jamarques' ball handling, has it drastically improved from the first time he was here, or is it you just didn't ask him to do
I think he's more comfortable in that is what it is. And, he played pretty much exclusively the point last year at Rhode Island. And, when we had the injuries a couple years ago, when he got that opportunity to get in there and play a lot of minutes, he shared that responsibility a lot with Bryce, and Bryce was the guy that brought the ball up the floor, and we had Rink on the floor at that time as well, who helped us facilitate. So yes, he is being asked, more. I think more than anything, I don't know if he's a better ball handler. I think his pace has improved, and we've needed that. You looked at BYU; he was the difference in that game. He shot 2 for 11, but his pace is what helped us win that game. And I thought it was a matter of time before a shot started falling, and it was great to see him in the opener knock some of those down.
Speaking of pace,
Kendall Blue and his role going forward, what do you kind of foresee his impact being on this team?
Yeah, Kendall's going to have to play a lot of meaningful minutes for us, and we talked to our team a lot about this. It's going to be somebody different on every night, and you always got to be ready when your name is called. We got a deep team. We're going to need Jared in this game with physicality, with their front line, in their length and athleticism. Jamarques had it going the other night. I thought Sam played really well. I thought Cale played really well. And, when he looked out there, Kendall, I think, got 10 or 11 minutes. Those are all very valuable minutes for him. But yes, he's going to have a lot of quality minutes for this team. And, I'm confident that Kendall's going to help us win a lot of games this year.
Speaking of that pace, you mentioned you'll get some press looks from FIU. What changes in the half court then when you have, 21, 22 seconds to work with instead of, 25, 26?
Yeah, you don't want to play in your heels. I think that's a big thing, but at the same time, you don't want to get sped up. So, there's a balance in it. When you have an advantage, you want to try to attack, and, when they're back and set, you want to get into your offense and get set up. So, it's all about, we have to have outlets for our team. If we run down the floor without vision, it's going to result in a turnover. They're too long. They'll do run and jump, type actions and just different things. And they're very random with it as well. So, again, when you're playing a pressure team like that, you have to run through the ball. You can't let the ball come to you. You always have to be ready for that second wave coming behind you. The international call is what, Wilson? Wolf, when they're coming behind you. So we have to be ready to call out the wolf at all times when they're coming. But, again, it's something that'll be good for us here moving forward. Playing a defense is completely different from what we faced. West Georgia was different than what we faced going against ourselves every game. Once we figured it out, we were pretty damn good. But, it can't take a full 15 minutes before you get it going. So, again, the urgency coming out of the gate, doing everything with force and purpose is something we talk a lot about, and we're going to have to do that out of the gate on Saturday.
Is Ogie still a week out, or what's kind of the timeline?
Yeah, he's probably a little longer than that, Robin. He's we're going to be careful with him so he doesn't continue to have setbacks. We want him to be pain-free before he goes out there again. So, we're just going day to day with Oogie right now, but I don't think he'll be ready to play in a week, maybe a little bit longer than that. But at the same time, if he gets out there next week and feels no pain, we'll get him back with a little more urgency. But we just really want to be careful with him and make sure he doesn't continue to have setbacks.
When you say you're looking for guys to play smarter, is it as simple as just make better decisions, or is there something like specific?
Well, it's decisions at the rim. I mean, that's a big part of it. And, you just can't go out there when you watch 20 clips when we're on the scouting report of what their defense is, and you go in there and you challenge them, that's not smart. When you go in there and you make simple plays, when you know they're going to converge on the ball and you try to play in small spaces, that's not playing smart. When you try to hit a home run and, make a play that's not there and turn it over 8 out of 10 of the times, that's not smart. So, we're looking for those simple plays, that result in good shots. And again, we got good looks early. We missed 3 plays right at the rim. We missed some wide open threes, that I think we're going to make. But you got to keep trusting that. You can't press, when those things happen. So, again, we learned a lot in that opener, and we're going to have to carry that over into this next game on Saturday.
With Oogie out for maybe extended time, how much more does Leo Curtis continue to?
Yeah, Leo gave us good minutes, I thought, in the game. He got a nice rim run and transition with his left hand, with his finish. I loved him stepping outside and shooting that 3. He's a guy that, that can really space the floor for us, and made a couple nice plays at the basket defensively as well. And that's the one thing about Leo, and that's the reason that he's out there right now. One, he wanted it. He wanted to go out there and play minutes for us this year, and he's a really smart player. He plays well beyond his years. As a freshman, he's got a very, very high IQ. So he's doing some scout team stuff, and then he's doing some stuff to prepare on the other team as well. But Leo, as the season goes on, there's no doubt we're going to need his length and in his size.
Where's Jared and his process of just from his late start?
Yeah, Jared, he had a really good day today, and he's continuing to learn. He missed a lot of time. He missed a lot of reps, and those are very valuable. So he's still, working his way back into the shape that he needs to be in, and still, learning everything that we're doing on both ends of the floor. He missed time with his knees in the summer. He missed time with a foot sprain in the fall. So he's still working his way back into shape. But yeah, we're gonna need Jared, and those game situations are very valuable for him. In the Midland game, he came in and he had 3 straight turnovers. That can't happen, and I thought he was better in those last 5 minutes of the game the other night. So again, with his length, with his explosiveness, that's something we're gonna need on this team as we continue on to the season.
How important is it for guys like Cale and Braden to be able to slide up to the 4, maybe if you're going to stagger BK and Ring?
Yeah, it was great. Braden, obviously he made shots, but I thought he played with great force. And on both ends of the floor, I thought he gave us some really valuable possessions on the defensive end. And, he's got something that we don't have a lot of on this team, which is athleticism. So, for him to go out there and make winning plays on both ends of the floor, that's what we're looking for out of Braden. And then, Cale just does everything for us. And listen, you told me tomorrow we didn't have anybody at the 5, I'm confident I could throw Cale out there and he would know exactly what to do on both ends of the floor, even though he's gotten 0 reps in it this year. So, you got the, 2 guys very different with what they do, but Cale's just one of those calming influences for our team, and I thought he was terrific in the game on Monday. All right, thanks guys.